let's go through this pretty quickly because this was funny. I got a report about the Switch OLED, how the difference in terms of Nintendo going from the regular Switch to the OLED was about a $10 cost, with the screen being $3 to $5 in terms of price increase going from that LCD to the OLED, rigid OLED from Samsung. The memory going up to 64 gigabytes was like $3.50. Some other parts came out to $10 more, and Nintendo of course increased the price of the Switch OLED $50, which is it's a different strategy than I think we've ever seen midway through a generation, especially for, I guess, a system you would count as like your flagship console device and all of this. Usually we see some pretty drastic changes like last gen where the PS4 Pro came out and the Series X came out. Nintendo did the OLED screen and they marked it up $50. They probably could have left it at 300 and still made some profit on it, but I think Nintendo's looking at the demand and they're like, let's see how 350 does.
It's, as I put on Twitter, this is the goal of every revision, is to increase the profit margin, and that's what the OLED model is going to do. When the Switch came out in 2017, that was the only means of revenue from the Switch line in terms of hardware for Nintendo. So they made X amount from that hardware. They then introduced the Switch Lite in 2019. That lowered that profit margin because you came in with a lower introductory price. Now you're bringing back the OLED, and it's at a higher price. So you're bringing some equilibrium to that revenue margin. And that's exactly what you want with these revision hardware. You want to maximize the amount of revenue you make on this hardware. So this move really isn't all that surprising. And it's also not the first time that we've seen Nintendo do this. When they introduced the 3DS XL, it came in at a higher price than what the 3DS was selling for at the time. It wasn't $250 like the 3DS came in at launch, but the 3DS, I believe, was selling at $179 at the time.
170, I think.
Yeah, so 170. Then it comes in the XL at $200. So this isn't all that strange for Nintendo to do, and from a business sense, it makes sense. Because once that Switch Lite did bring down that profit margin, you want to get it back up to where it was in 2017, or maybe even higher. So by pricing the OLED $50 higher, and now that we know it's roughly a $10 more cost in bills of material, they're just bringing back that original profit margin, if not higher than it was in 2017, and over this expanded amount of years. That's exactly what you want to do as a business. You want to capitalize the amount of revenue you can bring in on this product. And if Nintendo believes they can price this at $350 and find success at that price point, by all means, as a business, that's what you're going to do. But I also think there was a secondary alternative not alternative. I think there was a secondary means of why they priced it at $350. And I think it is when you come out with the next revision, the Pro DLSS and all those features, they want to experiment with the idea of pricing it at $399. They want to get consumers comfortable with the idea of a premium price for a premium product.
Yeah, that's my question with this though. We've gone up to $350 now with the Switch. Is this big time Pro, for example, if they decide to do a revision that has an actual power bump, $50, is that like the jump? Because they had to move they moved this $10 in terms of cost for that OLED. I mean, I feel like a new chip and all this stuff, for example, would move it up even further. I mean, would this be a $450 system, or would they drop the price of this one to $3 and then have one at $4?
If the OLED model is to be positioned to phase out the OG Switch and the V2 red box,
yes,
then I could see them doing $399, drop this one to $299 after maybe a period of 18 months. And then that's how you have it. You have the $199 introduction, $299 mid-tier, or we'll just call general flagship, and then high-end Pro, $399. Maybe they even try at $350. They have a range of options at that point, and we're still talking a year or so into the future. But I could definitely see them price it in that type of way of $100 intervals across 3 installments to the Switch family.
Switch Lite, regular Switch, new Nintendo Switch, whatever they call it. Okay.
Whatever they decide to brand it as. Yeah. But you could also see them eventually phase out the current Switch Lite and have an OLED screen equipped in that as well. Because
that makes sense.
One of the reasons that they went OLED with this particular model is because the cost of the OLED is cheaper than what the LCD screens were costing them from is it Samsung?
Their screen now, it was like it was what's the company? I know they had like Innolux screens.
Yeah,
It was printed on the back. Sharp was doing. Yeah, I think they've changed LCD because some LCDs look warmer than others. So they've had a couple companies that have provided screens to them.
Yes, and I believe the OLED is more affordable than what the LCD were running them. So it makes sense that they'll eventually phase out the lights that we have on market and replace those screens with the OLED too.
Yeah. So I mean, it makes sense as they build up to even the next gen, taking the OLED with them. Obviously, it's significantly better than what we have the LCDs. And hey, people will find that out when the system drops and people start posting up images of it and talking about the screen clarity.
I don't even know what you guys are talking about with 350. I mean, Walmart knocked $50 off the price.
Yeah, so this is weird. So. What's going on here? Because like
only
Walmart,
for the neon one. It was only for the neon one.
That was weird.
I pre-ordered that one and I never canceled it.
Yeah, and I had Metroid Dread Special Edition with Walmart, and they knocked $30 some odd off that.
They have another weird Metroid Dread Special Edition listing on Walmart that's $38.
Yeah, there's some weird stuff going on at Walmart. I'm a little concerned for my Metroid Dread Special Edition, by the way, being at Walmart, because maybe they're going to send me just a regular Metroid Dread now.
Some speculation is that the Metroid Dreads that they dropped to the original price is the ones that they oversold, and they're just going to send you a standard copy.
Don't do this to me, Walmart.
That would be a really surprise.
Prime Federation Force on the 3DS.
No. That's not a bad game.
So the other part of the report is that Sony is paying attention. I assume Microsoft too, but paying attention to this interesting move by Nintendo when it's pretty much figured out that we'll say minimal changes to the overall system itself and the hardware, and moving at $50. I mean, could we see Sony, if this works, like let's say the Switch OLED just sells out completely? People are buying it, it seems, online. I saw that Walmart link that had them in stock is now sold out from what I'm seeing here. So people are picking them up. I mean, why wouldn't Sony do something similar with the PS5 and mark it up? I mean, they could go do storage space even if they want to and go up to like 600. Let's be real. The PS5 could have been 600 when it came out. Like, does anyone think it couldn't have been 600?
They probably could have got away with it with the way demand is right now. I mean, I think it would have met a lot of criticism if they really did walk out there at a state of play or whatever presentation and say
Twitter
$599 again, because we all remember the Cause Harai $599.
If I was them, I would just meme that whole press conference announcing it. But like, are we talking Twitter criticism? Because that's basically like,
I think you would have seen criticism.
Thanks for selling it out for us.
I think you would have seen criticism from media outlets as well, just because it's a high price. But it also would have came down to what were they pricing the digital edition at? Are we still talking a $399 price tag for the digital edition, or are we going to increase that $100 as well?
That's $499.
Where's Microsoft pricing the Xbox?
I don't know, same price. Well, no, they probably follow because it's like, why not? I have a feeling either one of them figured out the pricing on it. And they were like, okay, they're going to go 5. We'll go 5. That's fine. And we'll have our Series S down here at 3, maybe 4 even. I mean, at that point, they would have all made money on their consoles at launch.
I think you still would have seen some criticism if they came up with that pricing structure, but they still would have sold out. The consumers would have been there at day one. They would have continued to be there. So as a business,
sold out at launch. Yes. Yeah. So I mean, they have to be looking at this OLED selling out at $350 without any noticeable change in terms of hardware, like in the power chip performance, any of that. I feel like if I'm Sony, I'm kicking myself for not launching that thing at 600. And I feel like they're going to remember this.
It's 600 with like no games.
I feel like they're going to remember this. Hey,
if you're Sony and you want to do a quick pivot this year for the holiday season, you just throw in a second controller and you charge $600, $650. They can make a holiday.
GameStop's doing it now and it's working.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you're Sony and you want to make that official holiday bundle that you know is going to sell out, you're going to throw in something that to them is costing pennies that they're going to have a high profit return margin on. Do you attempt that?
Do they try a 2 terabyte model for 600? Do they start moving the storage space up? I mean,
that almost justifies the higher price a little too well.
They'd look into the cost. Maybe it's 1.5. It's some weird number. It's like 1,700 gigabytes. Some weird thing that they put on the cover. But basically, they just bump the storage up and they raise the price. maybe they phase this one out, replace it with a 1 terabyte PS5, and it's $550 from now on.
Well, there was that rumor several months ago that Sony was going to do
Redesign.
the quiet redesign, just changing some of the internal parts for quicker, manufacturing purposes. But I guess that wouldn't be enough for them to say, no, it's $600.
I don't know. I feel like they're going to look at this and be like, man, we should have raised more. How do we get the price of it? Because Nintendo's probably even thinking they should charge more for the Switch when it first came out, and they figured it out here with the OLED. So I feel like Sony's going to be like, all right, how do we get this thing to $550 now? What do we have to do?
I would create some type of bundle where it's either
what they need to do.
Here's PlayStation Plus.
Need to get some goddamn games out.
Hey.
Hold on. Maybe we'll get Silent Hill announced. That'll happen. They'll get that. They'll get locked.
Games would be good. I mean, Ratchet just got #1 on the.
I don't see anyone talk about Ratchet anymore.
Yeah,
I don't see anyone talk about it anymore.
It sold really well,
It did sell well. Yeah,
it sold extremely well, and people play a lot of third-party stuff on PlayStation.
It is the default system.
Well.
Did it top the charts?
Yeah, it got #1 in the US MPD charts. Yes. Well,
I mean, isn't like also one of the only games selling on the PS5?
Exclusive? Yeah. I mean, Returnal's like God.
Yeah,
so.
Returnal kind of fell off
Already?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Demon Souls and all that. None of those games are from. None of the launch games are.
But Final Fantasy VII saw a huge resurgence.
Yes.
Oh, whoop-de-doo. I played it and finished it last year. Give me some
not having
games. Give me some
It was for
games,
people
Sony.
who want to buy intermission MVG.
Ooh.
Hey, Microsoft's got you covered. All right, they're bringing Deathloop.
When you go out there
Finally.
in a month and you buy Ghost of Tsushima, you can remember this conversation and say,
I am gonna buy a Ghost. I'm looking forward to Ghost of Tsushima. Bring that.
I'm looking forward to replaying that again.
I'm not gonna replay it. My save data hasn't come over. I'm just gonna play the new
Listen,
stuff.
it's got monkeys.
Yeah. Anyway,
I don't give a damn about monkeys. If I want to play games with monkeys, I'd boot up Donkey Kong
Monkey
Country
Ball.
2 on my
Super
Switch.
Monkey Ball's coming.
Yeah, and
Monkey
Super
Ball.
Monkey Ball, Banana Mania,
There we go.
whatever the hell it's called.
The new one. Yeah.
Yeah.
We need.
It could be a Dreamcast, a Game Gear.
We do kind of need some
Saturn.
PS5 stuff to happen here soon. So I don't know. I'm hoping they do have a state of play in August because it has been kind of quiet on the PlayStation front
We
recently.
just had a state of play.
Okay, a good
Iron
state
Man
of play.
VR2.
We need a state of play.
rest
Someone's
my
been
case.
silent.
A state of play
was
that-
like
that-
last week.
A state of play that gives us some stuff for this holiday outside of Kena, and Deathloop.
I'm questioning MVG. Are you upset with the exclusives or just like with the third parties as well?
No, I'm not upset. I want to be clear on that. But like, the guys were saying, well, how does Sony raise the price of their system? And like between now and the end of the year, what are they going to deliver? What's coming out for the PS5? We're getting Ghost, right? We're getting
Death
Death
Stranding.
Ghost is
we're
my favorite
getting-
game from what
Last year.
2020.
Yeah.
It's my favorite PS4 game. Come on.
What else are we getting?
Maybe Horizon.
Maybe Horizon. Maybe.
Oh, that's my favorite
maybe.
PS4
This
game.
fiscal year, you'll get Horizon. But the problem, I mean, Horizon is still a cross-gen game.
Yes.
I mean, obviously,
Yeah.
the majority of buyers, I can't even say the majority of buyers, but there'll be a large percentage of interest that are going to be PlayStation 5 install-based purchases for Horizon, just like we saw with Miles Morales.
Yeah.
But it still has that idea that if you want to make that argument of, well, it's a cross-gen game, it's not the PS5 exclusive.
Time
so
to
what
announce
Sony
Spider-Man 2.
has-
Honestly.
It's time. It's time
Well,
to announce
then it-
Spider-Man 2,
I mean-
a new Infamous, and Silent
Well-
Hills. We're good.
Wasn't the
All the
motion
above.
capture guy for Miles Morales seen doing motion capturing for something?
Oh, was
yeah.
he?
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
I mean, Spider-Man 2 has been in the works since before the Miles Morales. Well, at the same time as the Miles Morales game, it's just a lot bigger of a game than that game was, and it's probably, I would say, the earliest we'll see that's next year.
Yeah, probably. I'm just trying to help them out. You know what? They got GTA 5 coming. It's all
Yeah.
good.
It just
Let's
feels
go
weird
do
to
it.
me that there's like no surprise game this holiday from Sony or like from Microsoft. I mean, like Halo. But
Still a little time though.
Yeah, I mean,
it is, but it's like, what we already know how bad these companies were hurt throughout
Yeah.
last year and how all these games had to be spread out. Obviously, they'd want Horizon and God of War out and all
Yes.
these other, but it's like, I don't think there's a surprise game, because it's like if all the other ones have been pushed, there's nothing else they've been hiding from us.
Yeah, there won't be any surprise. Oh my God, I can't believe this is coming out this year, because the impacts of COVID are still being felt. There were projects that
What
were
if?
slated for, late 2021 that have been pushed to late 2022. There were titles that were planned for 2022 that have now slipped to 2024.
Last of Us 2 director's cut.
Oh God. But like the impacts of COVID will be felt for years to come. And I think a lot of people thought, oh, 2020, 2020 is over. 2021 is going to be a lot better for games. No, we are just now really seeing the ripple effect of what COVID did to this industry. We have to remember the industry was on pause for 6 to 8 months, and you don't make up that time in just another 6 to 8 months. That is a year and a half, maybe 2 years loss of development time. And it's going to take a long time for us to really catch up. And, you launch these systems, and I mean, we're not used to the idea of a new generation starting and not having these exciting brand new next gen exclusive releases. They're day and date. We're gonna have to wait 18 months, maybe 24 months to really see the beginning portion of this generation take hold.
Yeah.
And it's foreign territory, not only for the consumer, but also for the console manufacturers and for the developers as well.
Yeah, even on like Xbox side, we're talking about Halo Infinite, Forza Horizon, but those are on the Xbox One as well. So
yes,
it's a lot of cross-gen stuff.
We can look into 2022, and all of the known announced Sony products up to this point remain cross-gen. Gran Turismo 7, God of War, Horizon Forbidden West. And that was something that at this time last year, no one was really operating under that idea, because Sony was not forthcoming with how they were approaching cross-generation releases. Meanwhile, Microsoft came right out and said, these games are going to be cross-gen for the next year or two. So you already had that expectation that Halo Infinite, Forza Horizon, and some of more recent releases coming from Microsoft would also be on that Xbox One. Sony painted that picture that we were supposed to be getting PlayStation 5 exclusives in the year of 2021. And unfortunately, it's just now becoming that truth that all the projects that they had announced that got people excited for the PlayStation 5 will also be playable on your PlayStation 4, which is good business. It's great for the consumers who can't find a PlayStation 5. You can still play these games if you have a PlayStation 4, which is awesome for you. It's just at that moment where you want something to be excited for on your PlayStation 5, you're still waiting for that. Whoa, this is that real SSD taking advantage experience that we were promised 16 months ago.
Astro's Playroom.
I mean,
Yes.
and you're all wrong, because according to Xbox Lost PlayStation 1, who I'm sure we all know who that is, in all caps, Sony released more games than either Nintendo or Xbox this year. Nice lie at Direct Feed Games, at Spawnwave, at Modern Vintage Gamer. Nice lie.
So Sony up to this point has released Destruction All-Stars, Returnal, Ratchet and Clank, and what are we forgetting? I know I'm forgetting one.
Demon Souls, does that count?
Oh, that was last year.
last year. So it doesn't even count.
So we're at MLB The Show. We'll count that. That is a Sony developed game. So we're at 4.
But Xbox got that.
No one has said Microsoft has released more games this year. So that's a moot point. That was actually irrelevant to bring up. And I believe Nintendo has released Super Mario 3D World and Bowser's Fury in January. They published Bravely Default 2 in February. March had what? I'm sure it had something.
Sean, what did March have?
We've had we've had Game Builder Garage. We've had the Skyward Sword.
Mario
we
Golf.
had
Mario Golf.
Pokemon Snap.
We had Pokemon Snap.
That
What else
Miitomo
we
game.
The Miitomo game. Yeah.
So sorry, Xbox. I talk out of my ass.
Monster
and I didn't
Hunter.
put it in
At
this
least.
comments, but you're wrong. Nintendo's released more games than Sony this year.
Monster Hunter. Don't forget add
Well,
that.
I mean, if you look at this,
That's
this
Snap,
guy's
yeah.
obviously he's exuding anti-girlfriend energy, but like this,
Girlfriend energy.
the last half of
Respectful to
the
Jim Ryan.
the last half of the year, like Nintendo obviously has, more games, but Nintendo's a more mature platform at this point, and they focus on first party a lot more. So it's not really the comparison obviously is not going to be like this. Not, it's like apples and oranges when you talk about that. When it comes to Xbox, yeah, obviously Xbox, they're doing the backwards compatibility and they're doing the, Game Pass stuff. So it's obviously different. So, I mean, all the systems
also
are
knew.
everybody's selling well. Everyone's doing well. Everyone's playing games. So I mean, like, who gives a shit?
Xbox was the most best-selling hardware revenue-wise in the month of June.
Yeah, so
that was weird.
Which is great for the that platform and that ecosystem. But we knew Microsoft's approach to 2021. We knew they didn't have any big releases until Flight Simulator coming out in July, and then eventually Forza Horizon 5 and Halo Infinite. It's not like
How many days till
Microsoft.
that?
What is it, next week for the 21st is Flight Simulator?
Nice.
So
It's
not like we were
operating
operating under this idea that Microsoft was going to have this huge year and they didn't deliver. We knew exactly how they were approaching 2021, and we knew we just had to wait for them to actually get to the games, and they're about to get to the games starting next week.